He was her chief, and he sabotaged your surgery to end her career. But her revenge wasn't a scalpel. It was a simulation that exposed the truth. Welcome to The Fallout Zone.
They call the OR a cathedral of light. Mine dimmed the day Marcus Thorne smiled for the cameras and eased a hand onto my shoulder. Chief of surgery, mentor. His praise felt like a benediction until it became a knife. My patient was 6-year-old Mila, a tangle of vessels in her liver, dangerous but fixable. We rehearsed every step, resection, bypass, repair. The pre-op scan was our map. I could walk it blind. 2 hours into the case, the anatomy refused to match the map. A bypass we needed was fused to a vein, a branch that should have been lateral dove deep. Monitors chirped like crickets in a storm. I pivoted, changed my angle, called for suction, packed the field, and threaded a narrower window than any textbook would bless. We stabilized her, barely. I stepped out shaking, then smiled for the family because that's what you do when the child is alive. Thorne murmured, "Unexpected variants. We'll review." The next day, my badge didn't open the OR. 48 hours later, I was suspended for negligence. Evidence appeared like magic. An unaltered scan file with my name showing the exact wrong layout as if I'd ignored reality. A whisper to the board. A tip to the press. The coverage wrote itself. Rising star crashes. Thorne spoke softly on camera about burnout and safety. Colleagues avoided my eyes. A box of my things landed in my arms like a verdict. I filed appeals. Brought timestamps, notes, and OR video. Stress? Thorne said gently in closed session. Fatigue. He looked sad for me. The board looked sadder for him. I visited Mila's mother and apologized without explaining. Mila lived. The word should have tasted sweet. It didn't. When your hands can't heal, your mind hunts for purpose. Mine found it at a kitchen table with 2 monitors and a borrowed laptop. I started building what I'd wanted as a resident, a surgical simulator that felt real. Vessels pulsed, planes resisted. A liver bled when it should and quieted under pressure. I coded decision trees for when the plan breaks and fear knocks. Then I added a fuse, not a trap, an alarm, a tiny subroutine tied to imaging metadata. If someone altered a scan the way ours had been, and a complication followed, the model would surface an overlay, what the anatomy should be, what the loaded scan claimed, and the discrepancy trail, timestamp, and workstation ID. No names, just fingerprints. The honest would recognize it. The curious would follow it. I released it open source through a small foundation I formed with the last of my savings, the Mila Initiative. A few professors downloaded it, then residents, then entire programs, forums filled with clips. Feels close. Hate how it makes me sweat. Love that it's safe. Surgeons I once begged for time now wrote patches and pull requests. Weeks later, a professor emailed, "Your model flags a metadata chain on a pediatric liver case. Bug or feature?" My hands hovered above the keys longer than they needed to. I wrote back, "Feature. Follow the chain." More notes came. Different cities, same question. In one, the workstation ID at the end of the breadcrumb belonged to a chief. In another, to a senior administrator. No one used the word sabotage. They spoke about process, safety, governance. Titles shifted on websites without press releases. The silence felt like thunder far away. And then the message that stopped me. A training video from a med student called M. Shine. She narrated a liver case with careful precision. When the fuse fired, her voice hitched. "Somebody changed this. Why would anyone?" She didn't finish. I didn't breathe. "Shine," I whispered. Mila's mother used to call her that. Sunshine, when the ICU lights were too bright. I messaged anonymously. She asked if the anomaly was real or a trick. I told her, it protects patients, it helped reveal harm. She replied, then it did its job. I cried into a dish towel until the pattern ran. As for Thorne, the hospital announced his retirement to focus on family. He posed with a plaque and the kind of smile that melts under scrutiny. Recruiters stopped calling. Conference panels didn't invite him. In corridors where he once boomed, people lowered voices. I didn't need a perp walk. I needed the hum in my chest to quiet. It did. Do I miss the OR? Every day. My hands still shape air when I explain anatomy to residents who grew up on the sim. Now I consult on ethics and safety, teaching how to build systems that assume humans are fallible and protect patients anyway. We talk about metadata, audits, why power needs friction, and why heroics are the worst backup plan. Justice didn't return my title. It returned my oath. The Cathedral of Light is pixels now, but the promise is the same. First, do no harm. And when harm is done, make sure the next pair of hands knows how to stop it.
Thank you for watching The Fallout Zone. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.